Your new student has a strange sense of fashion. A bit rough, yes?
Your misunderstanding is corrected. The finest diamond is mined in the most desolate and lonely mountains.
Diamonds also require pressure.
He will learn to overcome his limitation.
Why, Sifu? What did I do wrong? Fine, let's do this. Hello, I'm Boshi-san, and welcome to Down in the Dojo, where Kung Fu comes to die. Every week, Sifu sends me a new film to study and critique, and I shall not suffer alone. Also, he reprimanded me for wearing
this, when I guess I was thinking of this?
But he meant this. So on with the film, The Crippled Masters. Damn it all! No, I can do this. It's only a movie.
Cut his other arm off.
Bloody hell, movie! Just getting right to the point. I'm not fast-forwarding here. This isn't even the first minute of film.
Lee-Ho, you broke the rules here, so you deserve everything that you've got.
What rules? Did you hear rules? I heard no rules. But whatever they are, this poor sucker must have broke them all. Slept with the guy's mother and 5 sisters in an orgy. Let me spoil it for you. You will never know. Nope, we just start with punishment. Sort of a theme here.
The rule breaker, Lee-Ho, getting tossed like garbage.
Master, everything go okay? Sir.
And the man in orange, Tong, getting promised power and wealth, etc., by the evil mastermind. You could tell he's the mastermind by the weird scar on his face. Looks like scales. Like he's a Gorn?
Good life. You have wealth, fame, honor, whatever you require. My thanks, Master.
Wow, the conspiracy nuts are right. Lizard people are the source of all evil. Although I get the feeling that in this movie, virtue might not be ruined by physical deformity. Just a hunch.
So the kindly local coffin maker, whose business is booming thanks to the evil mastermind, saves him from dying in the street, where Ho is beat up. Again.
Here's your tea, and you can help yourself. Oh.
So he goes to grab something to eat. Where he's humiliated. And beat up. Again.
Something's bothering me, and it's not just the gratuitous beatings and suffering of Ho, which already begins bordering on torture porn.
Wait, look at those arm stubs.
Right. If you didn't grasp it yet, Ho is not entirely armless. It's not a special effect. He has a congenital birth defect. No arms! Folks, that's the entire gimmick. We're done. I wish. It's only half the gimmick. This is not going to get better. If you have a weak stomach, come back next week. We'll do Power Rangers or something.
So Ho drags himself through the river and up to a farm, giving what's actually a really great line. At least for a dub.
I don't know what I can say. But if I don't die, I will be a success.
That's actually pretty inspiring. Clunky, but inspiring. And Ho does get his focus here, throwing himself into farm work, and damned if he isn't a pretty impressive peasant.
He's so hip he invents hacky sacky.
Where is it?
On your head! Top left!
Oh, my head?
I mean, look how Ho carries those water buckets with just his shoulders, and that funky little nub. Good for him! But this is a kung fu movie, right? Who ever learned martial arts through agriculture? What great hero learned martial prowess from planting? I stand corrected. So then...
What? Holy! What rule did he break?
I don't... Movie, what the hell is wrong with you? Okay, two things. One, don't worry about trying to figure out motivations for anybody here, other than the obvious, or plot, or intricate planning, or any such noble storytelling conceits. This is seat of the pants, making it up Michael Bay style at its most primitive.
How dare you try to...
The next scene is just the mastermind, and I use mind loosely here, taking over a dojo to turn into a casino because, well, why wouldn't you? I'm pretty sure it's on the Kung Fu villain cliché list, number 16. And otherwise walking through town like he owns the place, which I guess he does.
2. The big kicker here is that the heroes are crippled. Okay, by the title, that's no big surprise. But this goes beyond a limp, or even a single lost limb, like in the case of One-Armed Swordsman. At least in those films, the actor is only faking a missing arm. In this movie, both the leads really are lacking the necessary appendages. But they don't entirely lack them, do they?
You get your desserts! Get him out of here!
Ho has these vestigial bits, and Tong has these emaciated dangly bits.
And it's not that they have these attributes, but these are front and center. They're made to be bloody spectacles. They're shot in such a way as to shock you, make you lose your wine. And that's the lowest form of exploitation. They're not handicapped, they're freaks. We've got a whole rarely used kind of exploitation genre at work here. So rare that Wikipedia doesn't even have a name for it. Let's call it Cripple-sploitation.
So Ho literally fishes Tong out of the river, then proceeds to drag him to a cave and threaten to kill him. Because vengeance! Until the wise, and I guess flexible, Sifu pops out of the basket.
I see that confused look on your face. You're trying to puzzle out what's going on. Don't. No. Shh. Just let the Cripple-sploitation finish sucking away your intelligence. Trust me, you didn't need it before, and you won't really miss it for the rest of the movie.
So now we get a montage of the training these two receive under the Tupperware Sifu, so that they can become the Crippled Masters, gaining their vengeance and ending the cruelty of the Lizard Man.
Like hell! Come on, they have no arms, no legs! It's going to be a struggle to survive. People are cruel and vicious. And that's not the cynic in me, that's the movie! Remember the restaurant? And check out what the madam of the brothel tells Lizard's henchmen.
Oh, no. Mr. Powell, what are you thinking? With no arms and legs, why would they come here? They could do nothing even if they did.
How's a guy with no legs going to kick ass? I mean, it's kicking. Next thing you'll have me believe is Tong might be running races, finding love, that kind of nonsense. Okay, fine. But what about Ho? He's developed killer farming and hacky sack skills, but that just makes him a great stoner. He could grow monster shrooms and marry Jane, but a martial artist must have soul. Must be an artist in addition to strength and discipline.
Damn you, Karawa Shoujo! Fine. I'm just being narrow-minded thinking that people without all the traditional appendages are incomplete freaks. Sorry, I'll be more sensitive and less judgmental from now on. But movie, you still haven't shown me their potential yet.
Okay, that's potential. Just cover me retarded for thinking otherwise.
Boo! Boo!
Oh, right. Angry comments here. This is the trouble with even just talking about exploitation films. In execution, they require a certain superficial approach to stereotypes and overgeneralizations, stock cultural concepts, and socially unacceptable terminology. But for their very existence, these stereotypes and concepts must be embedded in the culture already. No exploitation genre can invent its own source material. There must, prior to the movie, be something to exploit. This needs not be something real or true in life, but this fear, hatred, or shock the genre feeds is already an active force.
Zombies need not be real, but our fear of becoming hollow, unreasoning shells shambling through an industrial wasteland is very real. Not every black man is going to get away with avenging himself against the man, but both the fear that he desires it and the fear that he deserves to be avenged remain strongly embedded cultural forces.
And to talk about these forces, much less portray them, is going to require some frank and often uncomfortable language. How do we become the enlightened people that can discuss matters without offense, without any obscenity, when it comes to these issues when we don't even wish to recognize? I don't have a clue. And this movie doesn't really have a clue about anything. But once it has indulged its fascination and cruelty towards the crippled heroes, we finally get a serious fight!
The heroes return to avenge the insults from the restaurant. And this diner in white interferes because seeing a guy lose to some cripples is funnier if the guy is drunk?
Again, this is not a film for those seeking enlightenment. But from here on out, it's mostly fight after fight. Finally. You get through half the film with no halfway decent kung fu.
So the Lizard King is having some financial troubles. Apparently jacking Dojo and converting them into casinos isn't as lucrative as it sounds. And the henchman rounds up Black and White, yes, that's their names, and they've been hovering in the background the whole time, to steal from some jewel thieves.
Is there no longer honor among thieves?
But the Crippled Masters have their own ambush, leading to one of the best original fights in the film.
We all are freaks. We all are freaks. He took me down, deeper still, into a room of dreamers, where only lost ambition could be found. He said to me, do you care?
Ouch! I have a hard time thinking that nub can really pack that much punch. But whatever.
You will see. I looked around at people smiling, faking graces, and I tried to be them. Feeling weak. We all are freaks. We all are freaks. We all are freaks. Just what is normal? We all are freaks. We all are
That ain't right.
Those two are my greatest enemies. And if they live, you will surely die.
But the underboss hatches a plan. He meets the mysterious man in white from the restaurant Revenge earlier and hires him.
I'm sorry.
On you. Come on, kill him.
Papa, you are normally very stupid. But this time, you have devised a very good plan.
Meanwhile, back at the farm, Basket Sifu tells our heroes about the valuable 8 jade horses the Lizard King conveniently stole from him. You know, way back when. Because the director realized he hadn't had a MacGuffin yet, and damned if he was going to miss that classic exploitation cliché.
The stranger, Poe, is tested.
Wait, they're awesome. We saw they're awesome. Why don't they swagger or waddle or whatever up to the big lizard and challenge him to the showdown?
But Poe finally earns his cash.
Or does he? This sudden but inevitable betrayal does not work out well. Now it's up to the Three Stooges to free Poe from the lizard. 3? Yep. Forget him? Me too.
Done. I was ordered to find the 8 jade horses. However, Ling Cheng Kung's kung fu is superb.
With Poe rescued, he tells him he's an undercover cop seeking the 8 jade horses stolen by Lin.
But hey, he's totally cool if they want to use them to play My Little Jade bronies first. See, these are somehow the key to knowing how to defeat Lin's superior kung fu.
Guess what the secret is? Guess!
That is correct. Now I've found the secret.
That's it? Seriously? You put one pony on top of the other, and boom! Super Kung Fu fun!
Honey, I sleep in a steaming basket. Most people sleep in beds.
And now you'll sleep in a coffin.
It's Uncle. It's you. Why'd you come here?
You fool.
And that's it. I guess the fight happens fiercely off-screen, but we never see it. I think the actor's single skill is in curling up in a basket.
They return to a shattered farm with a note.
Which I guess the basket Sifu still had time to write before he mysteriously never appears again.
So the three heroes, Po, Lee, and Tong, finally have their showdown with Lin. And it's a pretty great fight, actually. The henchman tries to run away, but Po takes him out.
This is actually a lame moment. It's not really a fight. Mr. Powell, the henchman-in-chief, is not a fighter. Never was. He's the weasel you corner to flip against the boss. He's the guy in witness protection. Whoa! Weren't they just at the villain's compound? Why are we back at the farm? What the hell? Is this the quiet man with the fight raging all over the town and countryside? I don't think so. But why am I surprised? The end of the film ends with as much whiplash as it jumped from scene to scene with. The final blow lands, and the villain, you cannot be surprised he is defeated, never hits the ground. The film just ends on a freeze frame of him falling. And that's it! Boom! Done! And it's a pretty clever fight. If somewhat ridiculous, you still have to suspend some disbelief that Lee can knock your teeth out with his nub, or that somehow Tang's butt bash is as effective as a roundhouse kick. But before I go ahead and end this episode with the highlights of that fight, let's rewind back to the elephant in the room. Exploitation! Joe Law, or whatever alias you find this director under, is no Tarantino. He's not even Todd Browning. But as an example of exploitation, this isn't actually that bad. Yes, I'm creeped out by the handicap of its heroes, but mostly in how they're presented to me in the beginning.
Bloody, shocking, steamy, decayed.
But this isn't just a film that exploits its actors for cheap laughs and shock value. It shoves their freakishness front and center ASAP, sure, but then it takes a long time, maybe too much time, showcasing the physical and social suffering they face as consequences of their disabilities. And while the audience will never know why they were made to suffer, what rules they broke, maybe that's intentional. It's easier to avoid sympathizing with a freak if you think they deserve whatever deformity or curse they bear, no matter how absurdly tenuous the cause may be. This film offers you no respite.
Why should we have to work so hard? We have all got to die someday, so what is the point of it all anyway?
So, yeah, I like The Crippled Masters. It's not a good film. In fact, it's a pretty bad film. The plot is incoherent and improvised, the dub is terrible, the gimmick is cheap, the action takes forever to happen, and the drama isn't really strong enough to carry it that far. And the humor makes you cringe with its mean-spirited nature. But under the weight of these flaws, the two stars, Jackie Chan and Frankie Shum, persevere admirably. You have to respect that even though they're not martial artists or trained stuntsmen, somebody saw potential in them as a pair. However one-dimensional that claim to fame was, armless and legless, they didn't just make this film.
They managed to star in 2 crippled heroes, and Fighting Life.
For a few years, they had their niche. Not too shabby. There are bad exploitation films, and paradoxically good exploitation films. It's difficult to condemn exploitation genres completely once you accept that the basis of their existence is, well, us. And trying to wish those pieces of our nature away is pretty ridiculous. Better to confront those obstacles head on and tackle them fearlessly. Like Ho said,
But if I don't die, I will be a success.
you will need much courage. In the end, I give this film an arm and a leg out of 5.
I was made to live in America. I was